Hi, welcome back to the channel. So today I've got some exciting news for creatives of all types, including writers, artists, and designers. Any of you familiar with the Affinity product suite of design tools, which includes Designer, Photo, and Publisher, you'll be excited to know that their version 2 is finally released today as of November 9th. And if you're not familiar with the Affinity products are, they're basically alternatives to Adobe's Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign. And what's nice about this is, unlike Adobe, it's a one-time fee, and basically you get a product that's not quite the same level as Photoshop and all those, but pretty darn close. It's really spectacular products, and they also work together. Like if you get one or all three, they all work seamlessly with each other. So it's a great tool to have. I do all of my thumbnails using Photo. And if you like my thumbnails, well, I used Photo to do that. So what's nice about today is they finally have an official new version. And you can kind of check out what they are, and we'll look at some of their features here in a minute. But what that means essentially is that if you are a version 1 owner, you will have your official first paid update today. That means that if you are an owner of version 1 and you want version 2, you will have to start paying some more money. It's the first time they've had to do this for an upgrade. Usually their upgrades are free. But that said, once you buy version 2, then all their version 2 updates will also be included. So basically what you're doing is you're buying the version, you're not necessarily buying updates. So that said, version 2 is like a new kind of step forward for the program. So we will look at some of the things, but one thing that's really nice about this is the new version comes with what we call a universal license. And what that does is it gives you access to all of the programs and all of their platforms. So that includes Macintosh or Apple, Windows, and iPad, all for the one low price of, right now it's $99.99. Usually it retails for $169.99 if you get all of them. But yeah, I mean, it's released today. I don't know how long this discount's going to go on for, so I wouldn't wait forever to get it if you're interested. But if you don't want the Universal Suite, if you do want to buy them one after, or just get individually, you can do that. Right now, the price is $41 if you're American. And of course, you get your facts here. So if you are at all interested in the program, I would highly recommend you check it out as soon as possible while the discount is on there. But I do want to warn you guys before I show you what they've added. It is Windows 10 and above, so if you use Windows 7 or 8 or anything earlier than that, this won't work. And I found that out the hard way when I tried to install it a little while ago and realized I can't do it because I'm on Windows 7. So that's why I'm not showing you a demo of version 2. Otherwise, I would have that loaded now. And you've already probably seen version 1 in some of my other videos. So unfortunately, I can't show you the demo. I would love to, because that means I get to use it. But that said, we can still look at some of the things that they're adding here. But just be aware that if you buy it, you need to make sure you're at minimum Windows 10. If you're using Windows, obviously if you're using Mac, that's a different requirement. And again, I'm only saying that because of my own personal experience. But anyway, that said, if you decide that you do want version 2, if you're a version 1 user, or if you're getting Affinity for the first time, which I think now, I don't know if you can get 1 anymore. I know 1's never going to be updated again. So if you're going to get any, I mean, you're going to want version 2. But essentially right now, it's still, I would say based on what I've seen of the videos that they're offering, it's kind of like the next version forward. It's still like getting like let's say a 1.11. Like they have new features that are cool. The leap itself is not so huge that like you're not getting a brand new program or anything like that. There's nothing extremely profoundly different about going from 1.10 to 2.0. Just based on if you look at the history of their updates, you can kind of see they're pretty incremental, and I would say it's the same here too. But what they did do differently with version 2, that's pretty noticeable right off the top, is they've changed the interface. So you got new icons for some of the features, and then this doesn't show the site over here, but you have a new layers panel, which I think maybe probably the next image will show that. Yeah, you'll see there's some new layers panels here. They got new ways of using your images and so on. And of course, you've got new features for each of the standard 3 tools that are useful. And I know that's kind of vague, so we'll look at them individually, but the point is like there are some UI fixes that are supposedly improved. Again, I haven't used it to be able to know for sure, but based on what I've looked at, it does seem more sensible now. There are things that it does, I think by, I wouldn't call it automatically, but there's some things that's in the workflow that's designed to make your life a little faster. So that's kind of what they're looking at here. So if you look at photo, or no, this is designer here. It's got tons of new features, a completely redesigned UI, hundreds of performance enhancements and workflow improvements. Here's everything you should know. So if you get the universal thing, it's going to give you all the iPad editions, including the new Publisher. Publisher is officially released now on iPad. That's another part of this big update, is that they wanted to make sure Publisher was ready to go on iPad. So that's pretty cool if you have an iPad. So now for like the specific examples that they have in the new version. So Designer 2, they have some new mesh warp tools. So this is actually really cool. I was watching the demo for this. They have mesh warp is one of the live filters now, which means you can do it non-destructively. They also have the same thing when we get to photo. You'll see that they did the raw photos are also non-destructive. Basically, they've added new live layers that make your working life a lot easier. And they also added some things where you can group some of your layers together and do like seamless cuts through all the layers. So it makes, basically the whole thing is about speeding up your workflow and making it make sense. So vector warp, this hugely powerful and highly requested addition allows you to apply a non-destructive vector warp over your vector artwork or text. Editing any warp offers a super fast like preview or live preview even on complex illustrations to give you true vector end result. So you can basically make your text do different things much easier than they used to, or your designs. This here, in the example they show on their video, this starts off as just straight lines, and then they were able to use vector warp to do this. So it's pretty cool. This is my favorite tool, or my favorite addition to the new version 2. This is the reason why I wish I was able to start using this now. The shape builder. Basically, you can create designs starting with rudimentary shapes, and then you start cutting away, or or grouping these shapes together, and then make your designs according to what's left over. So this starts off, as you can see, like with a bunch of circles, and then after a while they pair it away, so you're ending up with a contour. I think it's a really interesting way of doing it. But you add and subtract shapes and segments in a much easier, more interactive way. Quickly create complex shapes by simply dragging between segments to combine or holding a modifier or to extract. Then you have the knife tool, which I think is really cool. In the demo, the guy did this really fast. Like he took a basic deformed text here with the wild, and he did this just by taking two knife lines across the screen there, and then adding a shadow to it, and then just moving the vectors so that they make this shape. And it does automatic grouping for certain vectors too. So it really speeds up the process to design things like this. And if you do have the time to go over to Affinity's YouTube channel, you can see all their examples of what they actually do in order to simulate these kinds of effects. It's amazing how easy they make it look. It's crazy. It's really impressive though. Oh, and then you have the measure tool and area. This is really cool if you're a real life designer, architect. In the example that they give on the video, the guy, I guess, is painting a mural for a real building. And what you can do is you can actually measure how much paint you need or how much work you need to do based on the measuring tool. So for example, like if you know this wall down here is, let's say, 20 meters across, you can compare, you can basically figure out how wide this line is by using this line as the reference. So it's really impressive what you can do with a measuring tool. This is going to really be a game changer for architects and designers, I think, for physical designers. Extra view. They did not preview this one. No, actually, did they preview this one? There was some tools they showed off where you can show off different layers and turn off different layered toggles so you can get different designs like this. But I don't recall this being a particular focus on the video, so this might be a new tool that I haven't discovered yet. But basically, it's a new view mode to show makeup of your work, particularly useful for targeted selection or specific curve object within your complex artwork. So again, this is for designer. Then they have a lot of these DXF and DWG import features here. so you can upgrade schematics like right in the engine. And what's cool too is they have this integrates pretty well with Publisher. So they actually showed an idea or an example where you could edit the schematic within the magazine view on Publisher, just by using link tools and all that. So really cool stuff. Definitely give yourself some time to preview that if you can. So for Photo 2, this is where you have the non-destructive raw develop. I'm not that familiar with what raw developing or raw developed photos are like. I use most of my photos off my phone right now. So my camera that I actually have was from like 2004. It's like a 6 megapixel with like, it's actually a half megapixel. It's 3-point color, 3-point black and white. So it's definitely way in the past. So I have not really worked with raw files myself personally, but for anybody who's a photographer out there who really knows their file types, you'll be happy to know that this time you can develop your raw without destroying your raw. In the old days you couldn't do that. And it does give you a tip here. If you have Universal License and own Publisher 2, you can use the Studio Link to place raw files right into your documents, and then you can edit the raw files within your frames, which is pretty cool. And they're saying this is something no other publishing app offers, so that's a unique thing strictly to Affinity. So you have Live Mask. This is impressive because you can now layer your masks and change up what masks look like. So you can build powerful non-destructive workflows with new Live Mask, which update automatically based on properties of the underlying image. So you get the hue range, create a mask based on specific color, and apply adjustments, effects, or adjust the paint on automatically generated mask for your chosen hue, so you can see the difference between the before and after, or it could be the other way around, which I think is pretty cool. Bandpass, this is in their example they started off with a really dark image and then they changed the lighting on it, but bandpass allows the creation of a mask to be focused around the edges within an image. So this has wide uses for retouchers who work on different frequency layers, but also enables the creation of artistic effects. It's good for outlining. You can see there's they do a different way of highlighting the contours by colors. So I think this over here might be the raw image, and then over here you can see where they've enhanced the lines using this bandpass method. So that's pretty cool. And you have luminosity effects. Specify luminosity range to mask, for example, isolate specific ranges of highlights or shadows or anything in between, and apply controlled adjustments to those areas. So it works a little bit like curves. By the way, you can preview the new layers panel over here. You can see where now they're grouping it by the different types of filters, which is really cool. Compound mask is what I was most impressed with, because this is where you can actually lay one mask on top of another and create like a really interesting shaped mask where you can get really fine-tuned with your designs this way. So you easily combine multiple mask layers together non-destructively using add, intersect, subtract, and XOR operations. This means separate masks you've created can be maintained non-destructively while you create new masks based on those component parts. And then, of course, you have the live mesh warp. This is what I was talking about before, where you can actually do non-destructive mesh for your images. This is really great for if you do mock-ups. So like right here is a mock-up magazine, and they're using the image to conform it to the mock-up photo without having to go through a smart object. So I think that's pretty impressive. So you want an image or file to be distorted to match the surface of an underlying template. Now you can apply a non-destructive warp to make that happen and go back to edit whatever you like. They also showed an example where you can actually take a PDF and you can apply the same image or the same mesh to any page of the PDF. So like if you're simulating a magazine, you can literally highlight any page from the magazine and get this effect. I think that's really super cool. So this has some powerful use cases when using the photo persona in Publisher 2. You can distort link files without losing the integrity of the link, as well as warp picture frames to enable quick drag and drop alternate images. Okay. Then you have a brush engine improvement. They did not preview this in the video, so I'm not sure what this is. So we'll look at it together. Reorder nozzles by drag and drop. Use any swatch for intensity brushes, including gradient and bitmap fills, plus new distant controller, brush tip interpolation, and overall improved performance and accuracy. So if you know what any of that means, then you understand this better than I do, and congratulations, but also how cool, right? Okay, good. All right, next we have Publisher 2. So this one, I'm not sure, this one of all the updates, this one I think has the the least noticeable changes that I can tell. But this books feature, I really like this one, because what this does is this actually allows you to independently develop chapters or sections and then stitch them together. So you can combine separate publisher documents as chapters to create one long publication, automatically syncing page numbers, table of contents, indexes, and styles throughout. As an especially useful feature for collaboration, as contributors can work on their own sections individually before bringing it all together, available in desktop version only. So yeah, so if you're building a magazine, for example, and you've got different designers that you want to bring all together, that certainly improves that. And I think there's a style guide that you can use now, or no, I'm thinking I'm thinking of a different app that I was looking at earlier. Never mind. Ignore what I was about to say. But what's cool about this is you can rearrange your sections, and then you can auto number them, so they can actually update the numbers according to the way you arrange them. But yeah, this is perfect if you're working on, let's say, an anthology, or if you want to do a if you want to take a box set and you want to combine, let's say, several novels together. This is a way you can do that easily. Or again, if you have a magazine and everybody's got their own section, you can bring those sections together. That gives them the opportunity to work on their own sections, and then whoever has the master file can put all the PDFs together and create this master document. It's really cool. One that everyone has been in the publishing world has been wanting since Publisher was first announced is the footnotes and notes and side notes. This makes academic journals much easier to create now in Affinity Publisher. What's neat about this one is you can also change the with the note type. So like if you start off with a footnote and decide you'd rather make it into an endnote, you just do a selection, and then it'll move all your footnotes into the end of the document. So that's really cool. But you can see where they have an automatic addition to a location that you would choose, and then you can update the position according to your parameters. But yeah, you can do academic style notes now, and that's really great for those of you who write textbooks. Please note that you still can't do equations if you are a mathematics textbook person, or any of the sciences. There's still no support for equations yet, but they're aware that people want that, so who knows? It might happen, but it hasn't happened yet. This is probably my favorite new feature, and this is another reason why I wish I could access version 2 on Windows 7. It has something called autoflow. So this updates the whenever you use Publisher, there's like a little arrow that you click on, and it'll automatically add pages past the one that you're on to the rest of the document. But what this does is this actually allows you to open with the frames, and then you can fill in the frames, and then you can fill them in with sequence. So like, for example, if you set out a page with 9 boxes and you want these 9 photos to fill those boxes, you can start by grouping them all together and then stamping up here in the upper left corner, and then it'll automatically fill in the other boxes. So that's I think really cool too, because that makes your design process so much faster. So specifically, you create a single layout that automatically repeats across your document until all desired images are accommodated, plus the ability to choose a repeat count for images. You can set up advanced templates, so in the future you can instantly produce multiple variants in only a few clicks. And then you have link file layer visibility override, so you can turn any layer on or off from within placed files. It's including the PSD, which is for Photoshop, PDF, DWG, DXF, and other Affinity documents without losing the integrity of the link. Even if the source files change, your layer visibility settings will be maintained, also available in Designer 2 and Photo 2. And so again, they show the example of how you can create different versions of this map and print them, so that if you want to highlight specific components of the image, then you can turn off the other layers without really making it difficult on you. So you would do that through this box up here. And this, again, connects to your layers labels. So you have to make sure, with the new 2 versions, you do want to definitely label your layers, because there's some little special features in there that check into the names of your layers, and they can do really cool things depending on what your layers are called. So it's a good idea to get back into the practice of naming your layers, especially now. Style Picker tool, this one I really like. If you're used to designing ebooks or anything like that, you'll find that the styles guide is your friend. Well, Affinity Publisher now has its own style guide, and so you can create a generic looking page and then jazz it up with your brand or template. by using the style picker. And what this does is it actually allows you to hold that style and click on all the elements you want to apply it to. So whenever you see this little black dot on top of the brush, that's called loaded. You're loading the brush with that template, and then you can apply it to whichever thing you want that template to apply to. And then they say that you have to unload if you want to change the style. So they show you how to do that in the videos. But you can quickly apply the style of any object or text on your page to another. Also available in Designer 2 and Photoshop 2, but it's only for desktop, not for iPad. Okay, and then you can see where they've followed the style guide in a way that's keeps you branded. Okay, so then performance, we've re-engineered how we handle memory for imported PDFs and other large documents, resulting in significant performance improvements. And then you got some redesign stuff. So all new UI does not give the brand new look to apps, but also provides many workflow improvements. So you can see how basically things are laid out differently so that they ideally would be easier to use. So you can see here's the new layout of layers versus the old layout where it's just all kind of continuous layer. Basically the layers are kind of empty, and you got to define them this way. You can actually see more clearly what each layer is supposed to do. Clear drop zones for dropping inside, masking, reordering, parent bar, collapse groups, quick menus, all that stuff. The drag it. Oh, this is cool too. Your FX icon, you can now click and drag it. You no longer have to copy paste style to do that, which is cool. And then you got some more enhancements here. You can kind of see what all the changes are on this little section here, but you can see that they've really worked on improving the way that we use it, and that's on desktop. iPad's got some changes now. I'm not familiar with the iPad suite, so I'm not going to really cover this one because I don't really know how it improves. But again, if you're an iPad user and you have an old version of Affinity, you can kind of take a look at what is new here. But again, if you get the universal purchase, then you can get all of this stuff, all for one price. So anyway, that's the general overview of what's new in Publisher, Photo, and Designer 2. I recommend it. I think it's a great program. Now, again, you need to have Windows 10 or more recent in order to get version 2. If you're on Windows 7 like I am, I mean, you can still buy it and then just have it ready for when you do get Windows 10. Or, again, if you're running on Windows. If you're running on Mac, then I think you have to have, I think it's 16, there's like I think it's version 16 you have to have, I believe. I don't know. I don't know enough about Mac to know what does and doesn't work on Mac, which version you have that's considered outdated. But basically, if it's still supported, it should work on your system. If you have an operating system that is no longer supported, I would get one that is. Or you can do what I did and just buy it now and then have it ready to go when you're ready. That way you still get the $70 discount, which I think is I mean, I would rather save $70 to have all of the apps and have to pay full price. But even if I paid full price, I mean, it's still really, really affordable. And again, there's no subscription. It's all one-off. So again, if you've never used Affinity, but you are interested in some kind of graphic design, or if you're interested in designing books, if you're an author and you like this channel because of my author stuff, I recommend this suite. And honestly, even if you're just an author but you do your own books, I still recommend you get all three programs, because you never know like when you'll need Designer or Photo. I use all three. In fact, Publisher is the one I use the least of all my apps. Because again, Photo you design or use for graphic design, for photos, all that. With Designer, it's graphic design with vectors and all that. And then of course, Publisher, you can integrate all your designs and include text layout and create PDFs. And if you want to share your books, you can do that. It's just like I said, I think it's a great suite to have. I like it a lot. Sorry, I'm not demonstrating the app itself because again, my apps are version 1 and this video is about version 2, so I'd rather show you the what they're showing on the page here. But again, you can see it in action if you go to Affinity's YouTube page and look at the latest videos. Basically, you can see all these people here. They're demonstrating all the new features. So this guy here, James, he features photo. I forget this guy's name, but he features designer. I don't remember this guy's name because he features publisher. And then I think these down here are the iPads. I think she is the she's the photo for iPad, and then these guys are doing the same things they do on iPad. So the again, designer and publisher. Again, you can check that out for yourself. You don't necessarily need me to show you, but you can access it quickly here by clicking the button. So what I'm going to do, I'll put a link to Affinity's store page here. I'll put this link up for you, and then you can check it out as you want. And then what you want to do is, if you want to find out more, then you would go into the what's new button, and that'll open up this page, and you can get full access to all the things that you want. Okay, and then check out all their other stuff here. It's a really cool app. I love it. I was really happy when I found it back in April 2020, and it saves me a lot of time and money, or a lot of money. It doesn't save me time because I have to use the program, but it saves me a lot of money because I don't want to pay a Adobe subscription for things I wouldn't use every month. But anyway, so that's the latest news for creative people. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you use Affinity, and let me know whatever you want, because that's what YouTube's for and what the comment section's for. Leave comments, like, subscribe, do all the things YouTubers tell you to do, and yeah, if you want me to cover any other type of news, let me know. I try to keep it about writing mostly, but I do like to look at some other things that writers can benefit from, or creative types can benefit from, and all that. So that's all for today. Have a good day. If you're in Florida like I am, be safe, because we have a tropical storm out there that's supposed to be a hurricane any minute now, and I of course am within the cone, so I want to get this out before I lose power, if I lose power. But so far the weather has been, well, it's been wet and ugly, but the winds haven't been too bad yet, so hopefully it won't get too bad. It's not going to get too destructive. Cat 1s are not a big deal, not around here anyway, but we still lose power on Cat 1s, so hopefully I get to keep mine for a bit. So all right, that's it. I'll talk to you all later. Have a good day. Bye.